port 1 year after. Trucks Transit Parks Limited is an indigenous technology company providing innovative traffic management solutions, and it recently marked its 1 year of operations. The company, famed for deploying the ATO electronic call-up system used to shuttle trucks in and out of the Lagos ports, has witnessed a significant landmark despite counter claims from some quarters concerning its achievements. Jama Onwubwari joins us this morning. He is MD, Truck Transit Parks Limited. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, sir, for having me.
I hope I got the name right this time.
You did well this time. Thank you. Better than last week. Yes,
yeah.
Please.
So, 1 year after, how far so far?
Okay, we've come a long way, I must say. Just to put it in perspective, before March of 2021, if I was coming from Lekki to go to the Apapa ports, I would basically budget 3 hours for that trip. Today, I do it in under 1 hour. Before March 2021, if you were coming from Yaba and you were heading to Surulere or Apapa, sometimes you would have to encounter a long line of traffic stretching all the way to Nipanu. But today, that traffic has been restricted mainly to Wharf Road. So I think just from that very short perspective, one can say that we've come a very long way.
Now, tell us about ATO. First of all, what does ATO mean?
Right. ATO is the Yoruba word for arrange. And the concept came from the fact that the management of trucks in and out of Apapa and Tinkan areas for the past 8 to 10 years has been very chaotic. So the idea of ATO or arrange is to change the narrative from chaos and disorderliness to order and arrangement. So when we selected this name for the app, we wanted to ensure that it speaks to our local setting, it resonates with us, especially here in Lagos, and that since the solution itself is homegrown, the name and concept should also follow suit.
Let me assume that there would have been pushbacks from some other people about this whole arrangement. What kind of pushbacks have you had? From whom? And how has it been handled?
Okay, the pushback has come from both known and unknown quarters, both expected and unexpected quarters. Before now, there had been a whole lot of stakeholders who are involved in seeking to manage the traffic one way or the other. You had the law enforcement agents, you had the police, you had the Navy, you had the Army, you also had, to some extent, LASMA. Federal Road Safety Corps had also been there at one point or another. And then you have the transporters and their transport unions. You had people that are called movers, people who don't necessarily have trucks, but they act as middlemen between the law enforcement agents who were managing the traffic and those who own the trucks. So when those who own the trucks need to have their fleet move into the port or move into Apapa for that matter, they would have to pay these middlemen called movers, and then those ones will settle the enforcement agents on the road, and they will give them the details of the truck. So when the trucks approach these checkpoints, they let them pass because they are treated as priority. In other words, they have settled. So members of the ecosystem who are involved in this arrangement before we came on board have variously kicked in different forms. Some have come from trying to corrupt our staff. Some have come from trying to launch a campaign of calumny in the press and the media, complaining about the service, picking on very pedestrian things and complaining about. Some have also gone as far as reporting us to the police and say, please investigate these people for XYZ. So all of that had come, but they were totally anticipated because we know that the 100 million naira corruption industry, which we were trying to dislodge, is not going to go away without a fight.
Okay, Jama, can you tell us briefly how ATO works from beginning to end?
Okay, let me assume that Jama has a truck or a fleet of trucks, and he uses these trucks for both port and non-port business within the Apapa environment. ATO requires him to create a profile. So this creation of a profile means that you go to our website, click on register. You need to provide some details about yourself, about your business.
What's the website?
www.ttp.com.ng.
Okay.
www.ttp.com.ng. So after you have created
com.ng.
So after you've created this profile with your details and your business details, you are then required to upload the trucks which you have on your fleet. So if Jama has 10 trucks, he will impute details of the 10 trucks, and then he would also register on the platform the drivers who typically move these trucks for him. And there's an electronic wallet which you can fund through any of the payment channels which we've provided. And after you've done that, I can say you're ready for business. So if Jama now has a call or a request from a customer, please, I want you to return this empty container for me to the port, or I want you to go to flour mills, for example, in Apapa and pick up these materials for me. Jama will need to log into his profile on ATO, select the truck that he has built to go for that service, and then match it to a driver who is already registered, and he will select the park where he would wait, where the truck would wait before it is then invited into the environment. So after all of this is done, a ticket is then generated. An electronic ticket is generated with a unique code, which is handed over to the driver or sent to him as text or WhatsApp. And the driver can use this to pass any approved or authorized checkpoint, and also to access the park that has been selected for that journey. So that's typically how it works. When the driver arrives at the port or at the park, as the case may be, he will use the access code to lift the barrier. So he can punch in the access code that comes with the ticket, or simply scan the barcode on the access barrier screen provided. The barrier lifts and the truck is able to go in, and it's a one-time use. So immediately the truck goes in, the ticket and the code can no longer accept any other truck for that journey. So that's basically how it works. So everybody is captured within a single data dashboard, and you are able to schedule and move the trucks based on the need of the port or the terminal or the warehouse they are going to serve, and the condition of the road at the time they are required to come.
Yeah, Jama, if everybody is complying with ATO, how come there's still trucks parked on the bridges, on roads to Apapa?
Okay, so that is where the Nigerian factor comes in. Not everyone is happy to comply, because the priority service I described earlier before we came on board had given some undue advantage to certain operators. So what that means that those who are able to pay 100,000, 150,000, or 250,000, as the case may be, can get their trucks into the port faster than those who want to go, I will say, using the normal routes. So when this system came that is very agnostic, it doesn't recognize whether Jama has 1 million trucks or if he has one truck, everybody needs to queue up. These individuals were seeking for a means to retake their territory, if I may put it that way. So some have sought to use the enforcement agents who are currently on call-up enforcement duty to still try to retain a form of priority by saying, hey, my truck is going to pass here by so and so time. You can block the others and let mine pass first. So when that happens, someone who now has a genuine ticket is now kept waiting for some time. And what happens is that this easily creates a tailback. You also have scenarios where a transporter has already gotten his ticket to go in and drop off a cargo, but he is also waiting for someone to call him and say, I have something else that you pick up from the port when you are coming back out. So instead of moving promptly to go and drop the container the truck is carrying, they will slow down, sometimes even stop completely, in order to get a return business for which they would then be paid once more for that same trip. So when this happens, you would see naturally a tailback. So these are two causes. A third cause is road condition. Basically, at the Tinkan Island end, road construction is still going on, even as we speak. So this actually also reduces the available road space and leads to congestion from time to time. So these are the key reasons why you still see from time to time, and in some areas, truck traffic congestion within Apapa and Tinkan.
I'll assume that there is some enforcement, to ensure that such things are not perpetuated in a way that continues to mar the good work that your organization is doing to reduce, congestion and all of that?
That is true. Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu has graciously released a long list of law enforcement agents, particularly LASMA, Lagos State Traffic Management Agency, who are on duty in Apapa and Tinkan to enforce the call-up system. This has largely helped to ensure that the structure or the organizational setup of the call-up system is maintained. But as in every 12, you will see a Judas. We've also seen those who are compromised due to either their affiliations with certain individuals or just plain greed. So looking out for opportunities to extort from the driver still, or to grant unfavorable, unapproved priority to certain others for gratification had marred the complete success of the call-up system. But the governor is listening actively as we bring these complaints to his table, and we see action being taken in respect of some of them.
Which organizations or bodies are you collaborating with to actually achieve this?
The traffic in Apapa is about 50% port-bound and another 50% made up of warehouses and logistics companies that are operating within the Apapa and Tinkan environment. So the Nigerian Ports Authority, as the technical regulator of the ports, is our partner in connection with the port-bound trucks. The Lagos State government, as the landlord of the state, also is interested in regulating the movement of the tankers, the fast-moving consumer goods, and other traffic generating entities within Apapa. So Lagos State government is another key partner to this call-up system. And of course, the customers themselves, the truck drivers, the transporters are all parts of the entire ecosystem that we collaborate with and serve.
I know that another critical stakeholder, so to speak, in that same environment, in that ecosystem, are the various associations. How are they taking this, and how are they working with or not with Trucks Transit Parks Limited?
Okay, in every enclave, there will always be interest. So we have noticed a lot of positive feedback and constructive criticism from the transport unions. There have also been those who, like I mentioned earlier, there are those who were called movers in the past, who will still want to continue moving. They will want to continue being go-betweens between truck drivers and transporters and those who could give them advantage on the road. So because we know ourselves, because we understand the ecosystem, we're able to filter through the noise from the constructive feedback, and we are managing them as the circumstance requires.
And how do you manage those who have what you call undue advantage hitherto, those powerful forces, so to speak?
Correct. So in collaboration with Lagos State government and the Nigerian Ports Authority, there are various sanctions that are prescribed for those who do not follow due process. So if a truck jumps the queue, because we have the details of the truck, the details of the business is going to do when it's arriving at the port, we're aware, we can immobilize the truck from being able to gain access into the port. We are also able to prevent that particular truck from being able to do subsequent business. So its profile on the system could be blacklisted. In some instances, a transporter's fleet could be completely blacklisted because of repeated infractions. And when this involves owners of parks and associated facilities, their facilities can also be deactivated on the ATO app. So it's a multimodal, multifunction application, and various sanctions are meted out. But of course, we experience challenges sometimes enforcing some of these sanctions, but they've been largely effective in ensuring compliance.
What if it's a truck that belongs to a very highly powerful, highly influential somebody, VVVVVIP?
Okay, so I will say that this has happened in a number of occasions. What typically happens is that because our system is data-based, we're able to present the data. And with this data, sometimes it's difficult even for a VVVVIP to protest that certain sanctions are meted out. But I must say that the Nigerian factor sometimes impedes the pace of applying these sanctions. But eventually, when the data is gathered and is presented in a format that is incontrovertible, it's usually difficult to refuse to at least acknowledge that the sanctions were in order.
10 seconds. What's for the future?
The future is tech, and I will say we have developed a new application called Tafia that enables the transporters to be able to find cargo that is close to where they are. So like I mentioned earlier, instead of hanging on the road and then waiting for someone to call you on the phone, we recently launched an application on the 28th of last month that enables them to online find cargo where they are, and then they can easily connect with the owners of those cargoes.
Well, we have to thank you very much and wish you the best in all that you do to make our ports and our nation ultimately better. Jama Obuarere is Managing Director, Truck Transit Parks Limited. Thank you so much for your time again.
Glad to have been here.
All right. So, right after now, another conversation is coming. Stay with us.